Hello and welcome to the Wow Embossing channel. Today we're going to be using our embossing glitters with stencil to create a really cool look for our cards. So I've got this stencil pack from Concord and 9th. It creates this type of pattern, and that's the Deco stencil pack. And then I've got this trio of embossing powders from Wow, and these trios are really lovely because they have colours that go with each other. So you can see that I have added little labels to the top to show you what they're like. So we've kind of got this mid purple, this pale one, and this kind of like hint of purple. So we're going to be creating using those today, and I like that kind of tonal look for a card like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock, and then we've got 2 stencils in this set. I'm going to go with this one first. I'm going to lay that across my card. I'm just going to tape that down to keep it in place as well. So then I've got my Wow Embossing ink pad refill, and then just add a little bit onto an acrylic block. So then I'm going to use my smoothie tool. So then I'm going to use my smoothie tool, and I'm just going to dab the ink through the stencil. So then I'm going to use this mid colour, which is called Rock Crystals, and I'm going to cover my paper with it. So then I can heat that up. And look how pretty this is looking already. It's so cute with that glitter. So then we're going to add in this stencil. So then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to add some embossing refill through the stencil. These stencils from Concord and 9th, by the way, are such a nice quality. They're really thick. I've never had any of their stencils before. They're really nice. And then on this one, I'm going to use the Grapefruit Fizzos, which is the darker of the colours. So then, doesn't that look gorgeous? And that's why I really like these trios of colours, because they just work so perfectly together. So then I've got this purple cardstock which coordinates really nicely with this, and I'm going to cover this in embossing ink. So I'm just applying my pad directly to it. So I was originally going to do this with the Fairy Clouds glitter, but it was actually more opaque than I expected it to be. You can see I used it on this side, and what I really want is a sparkly version of this colour. So what I'm going to do is use the clear sparkle. So I just wanted to mention that a second, because it's the difference between these powders. So this clear sparkle is a translucent, you can see because it's got the T here, embossing powder. So that means you'll be able to see through it. So it looks like this on white, it looks like this on purple. You can very much see the colour of the cardstock through. Whereas this one is an opaque embossing powder. You can see that with the O. So it sits on top of the cardstock, and so you see much more of the colour of the embossing powder rather than the colour of the cardstock. So I've got 2 stitched rectangle dies. These are some old ones I had in my collection. So I'm going to just tape those down. And I'm taping them down together so that they will cut as a frame. And then I've also got this beautiful For You die from the Greetery. So it's called Simply Bold For You. And I'm going to cut that out of the middle. So then I'm going to glue this piece to my card front. I'm going to hold that down with that to glue just where it got a little bit warped while I add some foam pads to these. So then I'm just going to chop out this for you. I'm going to pop that in the middle here. I'm just going to use a bit of tape to attach it down. And then that will act as a guide for placing my letters. And then we've got our beautifully spaced for you. So that's our card for today finished. So much sparkle on there. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when there's a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to the blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.